Welcome back to Beyond Borders Dilemma podcast. I am your host, Naomi Menu. For many graduate students, especially international students, your supervisor or principal investigator, which is the PI, is more than just your advisor. They are tied to your funding, your research, and your visa status. Today's episode is for anyone going through this situation where a PI had to change universities and what comes with it. This event can change your course as a student. I have with me someone who experienced this to share her story. At the end of this episode, I want us to understand what happens when a PI moves institutions, how to make informed decisions without panic for yourself, the academic, financial, visa, and emotional implications that comes with it, and lastly, how to advocate for yourself in an uncertain power dynamics. So with me today, I have Olayinkar Olajiga. I hope I'm not butchering your name. Ola for short, who is a fourth-year PhD candidate at the Tulane School of Public Health and Tropical Medicine in New Orleans. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you, Naomi. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. She was in Kansas State University for her master's, and that's where I know her. And she had to change universities because her PI changed schools. So today she's going to give us all the gist about it. To begin with, can you tell us your journey from Nigeria to becoming a student in Tulane?
Oh, okay. Thank you. So my journey started in 2020. I was interested in furthering my education in my master's and possibly doing my PhD. So I had an undergrad in microbiology. So my focus was in the line of public health or microbiology. So I started reaching out to potential PIs in School of Public Health majorly. Luckily, I stumbled upon the website of Kansas State University. I checked the School of Public Health and I saw a PI. The research interest aligned with mine. So I reached out, I sent an email, and luckily she was open to accepting students and she responded and we talked. She had an interview with me, tried to understand what I'm interested in, and also for me to understand what she's working on in her lab. And after the interview, she found me really uh interesting to join her lab. She gave me the offer and I accepted and I moved in. I joined a lab officially in January 2021 as a master student. However, she wasn't in the School of Public Health where I saw her. She was an adjunct faculty member in the School of Public Health, but her main department was the Department of Entomology. So she told me that her research is on medical entomology, which aligns with what I was doing in my undergrad. And so if I'm interested in switching department instead of public health, I'm still going to be working on the same project, however, different departments. And I agreed. So that was how I ended up in Kansas State University as a master's student in the Department of Entomology.
Great. So, at what point or how and when were you informed about your supervisor's decision to move to Tulane?
Okay, thank you. So I came in January 2020 and then within 6 months she she was hinting it that she might have to move because she's the only medical entomology in the department and she feels a little bit out of place. So she's trying to look for other places where she could collaborate with other PIs in the department. So she's looking elsewhere. She hinted that and then after like 6 months, she called me one day to her office and told me that she has gotten an offer with her alma mater, which is Tulane School of Public Health, and she'll be moving there as a assistant professor over there. And she's trying to put in words and see if she can come with her students. She had two students, myself and another person. If we can move with her to Tulane to continue our master. So that was when we were informed.
Okay. And do you feel like you were given enough time to like make a decision, or it was like, oh, now we have to move, so you have to jump on the wagon?
I was not given time. I feel like I was not given an option. I was just told that whatever happens, if I get a response back from Tulane and they accept for you to move, then we are moving.
Okay.
And then I was told that if the offer doesn't stand, then I'm talking with another PI in the Department of Entomology where you can move to. So those were
Oh.
the options I was given from the.
So then obviously things were not explained to you clearly as to what your future holds for you.
No, no. The two options was just we either move or you stay back with another PI in the department. Things were not clearly explained.
Yeah. Okay, now let's move to the visa funding and institutional risk because now you have to move between schools and you had already started, right? So how did this transition affect your funding, assistantship, and then your stipend, of course, because most students depend on stipend. Yeah.
So in my own case, I was lucky because after she reached out to Tulane and Tulane said if your students are moving, then you have to pay for their tuition on your own from your funding and things like that. And she looked at the tuition at Tulane, it was quite high. It was way more than the one at Kansas. So we went with the second option, which is to stay with another PI in the
Mm-hmm.
department. However, in the case of funding and stipend, she left the funding for the project for me to finish for the two students. So the two students moved to the other lab, still doing the same work, the same projects that we started with her, and then using the same funding that was funding us when we were on that. So she just left the project where it was. It was just the physical movement. She moved while we stayed behind. So she was still involved with our project, the weekly meetings, the decisions with the projects and everything. She was still involved. So she's still the one providing the funding.
But she was outside of Kansas
Yeah,
whilst you were still in Kansas doing the
yeah,
work.
yes.
Okay, okay. And she left you under the supervision of another
Yes.
professor,
So the
right?
stipend was still continuing.
Okay, good. And did you have to make any visa or immigration changes, or
No,
you still had to held your F1 visa, I guess?
yes, I held on to my F1 visa because I was still in the same school. So
Mm-hmm.
my visa was not affected.
Were there any differences in support between domestic and international students, and how domestic students being people who are like natively here, and then you being an international student?
I would say when I was in Kansas, I wouldn't really know because the new lab I moved to, every other person too was international. Although they were not full-time students, they were postdoc and lab technicians, and they were all international. So most times we just meet and talk about visa issue and things like that. So I wouldn't. I'm not in the best position to talk about how international students or domestic students were treated in that case.
Yeah.
However, moving to Tulane, I would say that when I started my PhD, I have had friends that are citizens, and I would say the difference is they don't really care about PI's attitude compared to international students. As an international student, we want to maintain good status with our PIs, and in order for our funding not to be cut short, in order for us not to lose our standing with immigration and things like that. But they make decisions that suits them compared to
Mm-hmm.
international students that have to make decisions that will benefit them with immigration.
Yeah, yeah. And they have a lot of options to choose from too.
Mhm.
So you are kind of boxed in a way
Yes,
because now you don't know your left from right. So you have to deal
yeah.
with whatever comes to you.
And
I
even when it
totally
comes
get that.
to sorry, go ahead. When it comes to projects, even if they don't feel comfortable with the project, they are not getting dancing, they can easily switch and say, okay, I'm not interested in this project any longer. But as an international student, we tend to go for projects that there's guarantee of funding.
Mm-hmm.
So even when
Mm-hmm.
we are reaching out to PIs and things like that, with your first question we're gonna ask, because I remember when I was reaching out to her when I was still in Nigeria, I asked her specifically, "Do you have funding for me?" Because I won't go to a lab that doesn't have funding. These are the decisions we had to make as international students.
Yeah, yeah. I totally agree with you. I used to have some domestic students too, and what you're saying is very true. Emotionally, how did this uncertainty affect your mental health and sense of stability once she moved and then you had to go there too?
I would say I had a good support system when I was in Kansas. I had friends around, and everybody was just being nice. I had a particular friend that is always bringing lunch for me. So I would say when food is sorted in my case, and then I feel like emotionally I'm kind of strong because once I have food and I have movies to watch, so I emotionally I had people around me, so I didn't really feel it. And then the new lab I moved to was really nice. Everybody was helpful, so I didn't feel it emotionally when she transitioned. However, when I moved to Tulane, a new environment, everything was new to me. I felt it.
Mm.
I felt it. I didn't have friends at first. I didn't live in the school area. I lived very far away. So everything was just emotionally draining for me at the beginning. Yes.
Was it easy to make friends once you went to Tulane?
I would say I actually started with African friends. I met Botswana, I met Sierra Leone, I met everybody from everywhere Africa because I needed it. I needed it first. So
Yeah.
my first class, I remember meeting a friend from Sierra Leone. I immediately like turned to gum body with that person because I needed somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that. And then over time, I then started getting hang of it, and I was able to have indigenous friends and things like that. But at first, no, I needed the support.
Yeah, I'm not going to bring controversy, but I feel like I should ask this. I've been in Kansas. I know Kansas people are so great.
Mhm.
I've never been to New Orleans, so how would you compare the people there to Kansas?
I will tell you right now, without sugarcoating anything, Kansas is better. Even when I was, well, anytime I talk to people, I'm like, I prefer Kansas. Everything in Kansas is way better than this place. Even when I was getting a new apartment, I told the apartment lady, she was like, oh, you're going to sign 15 months. I told her, no, I'm not signing 15. I'm signing 12 months because I'm still going back to Kansas. Seriously, I loved Kansas. House rent cheaper. People in Kansas nicer. Everything calmer. The driving is different. Over
Yeah.
here, everybody is crazy. We just finished the Mardi Gras. It was a 1 month festival. Everywhere
Mm-hmm.
crowded, the nakedness going around. All
Oh,
this,
wow.
and no, no. Please, Kansas, I love Kansas. The calmness across the Kansas is my pure joy. Seriously.
Yeah, honestly, I miss Kansas too, even in California. The weather is great here, but
Yeah.
the people, I've not been to any state that made me feel at home like Kansas did.
The truth
So,
is, I'm coming from Nigeria. Okay? If New Orleans was my first spot of entry, I might have. It's like you're going from fry pan to fire. They are like the same sister.
my gosh.
No, no,
Now I
New,
feel like I should visit you.
you need to visit New Orleans. Seriously, crazy people everywhere.
That was funny. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I love Kansas. And any opportunity I get, I want to go back. I will definitely go back probably this year, but we will see.
I'm going back next month. I'm going back March. I'm visiting Kansas March.
Okay.
No, I can't. No, seriously. I need the reset button. Kansas needs to reset me. This place is just.
You don't mind finding a job in Kansas, the way you're
I
talking
don't
about it.
actually. I don't. I
Yeah.
don't.
Manhattan actually is a really good place for
And the
like
people there are
raising
nice.
kids. The people are so nice.
Mhm.
Not not even only the school community, like people outside.
Outside.
Yeah, like my church community. Oh my goodness. I always mention their name.
Yeah,
It was such a good place to call home.
it's
So I'm
fun.
glad you also experienced that, but
I
not New Orleans.
I logged into to the pot at the food pantry because he said you have to log in, and I logged in. And he gave me one tissue paper. I said, "No, you will never see me again."
Oh my gosh.
You know the cheapest one in Walmart. Anytime I pass in front of that pantry till today, I used to look at them like, "You are not serious. Just close it down."
My goodness. New Orleans, you can do better. Tulane is a really huge school. Like it's really good. So they can do better.
But it's a private school,
Mm.
so it's
Oh,
understandable.
it is a private
Mhm.
school. Well, did you feel pressure to follow your PI even if it wasn't the best option for you? Once you finished with Kansas and you had to join her. Yeah.
Yes, I felt pressured because she kept sending me emails. You have to apply. When I haven't applied, and then when I applied, I got the offer. When are you resuming? When are you resuming? I didn't even apply to any other school. I just applied to Tulane because it was more or less,
Yeah, maybe there might have been a lot of options,
yeah, it was more or less like
but
my trajectory was just planned by her. So I had to like just follow the timeline. I've finished my master's now. I have to resume for my. So I was pressured to do it because if I had options, I think I would have gone for a job first, take a gap
mhm.
year, get a job for like 1 year, know what is out there. if I'm
Mm-hmm.
qualified and things like and then
Yeah.
decide later if I want to do my PhD or not. Well, I wasn't
Mhm.
given that option. I was just told after your master's come for your PhD. But for me, I think when I was even living in Nigeria, I only wanted to do my master's and moved on.
Mm.
When the whole thing happened, I had no option.
Okay, that is very interesting. So, were you scared to stand up for yourself, or you didn't know that you could do that? You didn't know that you could have options and you had to go by what she says
I
or
knew I
he
had
says?
options in my own case.
Yeah.
I knew I had options, but at the same time, I was thinking of the immigration. Okay, what if I didn't get a job on time? What if I'm not qualified? Because I still had,
Mm.
as at that time, I had imposter syndrome. I was like, what if I'm not enough? Let me just go with the safe option. Someone has already planned my life for me. Let me just go to this place. So I knew I had
Mm.
options, but I was scared of taking the options. And I
Yeah.
was like, this is a foreign land. I just don't want to risk it. What if I don't get a job within the stipulated time that I had to get a job and then I end up going back home. Even I had and I had a safe option and I just let it go like that. So
I can see that happening because masters is a really short period of
mhm,
time. And even with PhD, it's difficult to find job nowadays. So
mhm.
you're not guaranteed anything. Having an option that is already made for you and one that now you have to look for, obviously most of us will go for the easy route. I can definitely see that. So who did you lean on during this period of time? Because I can see that it was quite difficult for you once you move to Tulane and everything is new to you, whom did you lean on?
I think when I moved to Tulane, I leaned so much on the friends I first made in the first year. So much that I even crashed at their house, like just to sleep over the next day. Those were
Mm,
people that I leaned on and they were there for me.
okay. And how was your relationship with the your advisor or P?
My relationship with her was kind of dicey. It was on and off. It was like a switch battery. It's good today and then bad tomorrow, but we figured it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. A lot of international students go through that with
Yeah.
PIs. So
Mhm.
I hope when things like this happen, you can figure it out with them so that you don't find yourself in a hot situation. Neither do you also feel traumatized by things that they do to you. Now that you are here, it means that everything went well for you. You are now a candidate, right? So that means you've written your preliminary exams, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How was it though?
In our own case, it's not written. It's a
Oh, okay.
presentation. So,
Just presentation.
so
You're
yeah.
not like quizzed around because Kansas was both written and then you have to do oral
The
one
first
too.
one was to write you write a proposal and then you
Mm-hmm.
defend it. So the proposal has to be something not similar to your thesis. So something different, something you have no knowledge about. You have to and then you present the whole and even budget, like, oh, this is how I'm gonna do it, the timeline you're gonna do it. So once you pass that, then you're gonna do your
Mm-hmm.
prospectus your thesis, which is more or less like your defense. So you're gonna
Yeah.
present your work, what you wanna do, the timeline, that is your work. That's
Mm.
just it. And then after that, you finish your work and then do your dissertation defense. That's just
Okay. And you had committee members involved. Okay.
the first one, the comprehensive exam, which is the one where you do a proposal on something that is not your work. That one you have the department chooses the committee member for you. So they just choose
Oh,
randomly, and they might
okay.
choose someone that is not related to your work and things.
Your work.
So they choose for you and then you present to them whatever questions they have, whatever concerns they have, they raised it and then you address it. In my own case, one of the PI was new, so he didn't know that the work is just dummy work to say. So he thought it's something I was gonna do. So he kept hammering on why are you choosing. So initially I chose Venezuela for my project site. It was like, why do you want to choose Venezuela? US is not in good agreement with Venezuela. How are you gonna travel?
Oh, he brought politics in.
So I changed it from Venezuela. I changed it to I think to Peru, and it was still like how much is the flight to Peru and things like that. So I had to explain to after he has grilled me for after the whole presentation, days after I was still sending email asking questions, and then one of the committee members had to explain to him that this is an hypothetical research. So that was when he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you were gonna do it. Oh, you passed, you passed." So that was what happened.
How come he was chosen, but he didn't know what he was in for?
Because he's a clinician, so there are a lot of clinicians in the
Okay.
department. So he was never involved in all these things. This was his first time of being. So
Okay.
one of my friends actually had him again on his committee, and he said that he didn't ask all those questions. He was the sweetest on the committee.
Because
So he
that's
learned
funny.
from me.
Yeah, he did learn his lesson. Well, now let's talk about long-term reflections. Looking back, do you feel the outcome was fair to you as a student, everything that you had to go through? I think with you, you didn't have to immediately follow your PI. You were able to, you had some time to finish your master's in Kansas, but in everything, do you think that the situation was fair enough for you as a student?
I would say it wasn't. It wasn't. No student has to go through that. For me, she didn't start the plan to move after I got to Kansas, after I got to the United States, because
Mm-hmm.
she moved within 6 months.
Yeah.
That was something I was already in the pipeline. You can apply for an assistant professorship within 6 months and get it and relocate.
And
So
relocate.
she already had it in pipeline. So if
Yes.
you had something like that, you should have told me when I applied. You should have
Before
told
you even
before I
came.
came in here. Okay,
Yeah.
this is the plan. When you come, I'm moving. Do you want to move with me? These are the options. Because if she had told me as at that time, I was also applying to other schools. I might have
Mm-hmm.
gone with the other schools.
Yeah.
So it wasn't fair. The treatment wasn't fair, though it played out well for me because
Mm-hmm.
my funding was not affected, my visa was not affected, but I should be given the option,
Mm-hmm.
not
Yeah.
just decided for me and then expect me to follow the plan.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely not fair. And what would you want universities to do differently in situations like this? But going back, were there any like how do we call it, committee that you could talk to when all these things happen? Were there any resources that you could go to when all these things were happening?
Maybe I was not aware that there was resources, but I didn't know of any. So
Mm.
I just talked to my friends. I talked to people in the lab. How can I figure things out? Also, and I was also new when the all change
Yeah,
happened.
6 months is quite still
I
new.
didn't know anything about resources or who I could talk to. But right now that I've stayed here for a couple of years and I've gone through the whole process and everything, I know that there are resources. Schools have resources that you can talk to that can figure
Hmm.
it out for you. Yes.
Yeah. And what advice would you give to someone who is a student going through this similar situation?
I would say make the best decision for yourself and surround yourself with good people. Surround yourself with good people. Don't think you can do it alone because it can run you mad. Do it alone.
You would be
Also,
traumatized.
I'm a religious person. I would say be prayerful.
Hmm.
There's nothing prayer cannot fix. So try to be an open book. Talk to people as much as possible. Talk to
Hmm.
PIs. Don't just limit yourself to your PI alone. Your PI
Yes.
does not know it. Your PI is not perfect. Your PI is not a saint. If your PI is not making life easy for you, talk to other PIs and try to figure things out. See things from their perspective. Don't just believe.
Hmm.
Don't be close-minded and say, "Oh, it's me and my PI. It's me and my PI." Your PI can drop you at any time.
Yes.
I'm not saying you should have a backup, but talk to other PIs in the department. Be friendly to other PIs in the department so that when you have issues with your PI, you have someone to lean on.
There is not even anything wrong having a backup.
Yes, there's really a backup. Yes. Because
Yeah.
I would also say if she hadn't like if Dr. Park in the lab
Kansas.
in Kansas wasn't there, then I would have been stranded. So have other PIs, have good relationship with other PIs. Don't be too shy. I would say in my own case, I was shy from day one. I was only scared to talk. I was just going through so many things. I had yeah, imposter syndrome played a big role in my life. I was like at times in gatherings, I had things I wanted to say, but I was just scared of, okay, what if I don't make sense? What if my accent doesn't make sense? So I just keep quiet most times. And that really made things a little bit difficult for me at first because I also had people who walk up to me and say, oh, why can't you speak like Americans? Why don't you learn how to speak like Americans? I had a PI say that to me. I had a student in Kansas also say that to me. And the funny
Wow.
thing is, the student wasn't even an American. But she had the audacity to tell me, oh, can you speak like an American? Because I don't understand where you're talking.
Actually sad that they would think that you can just change your accent
I was
just
born
like
with
that.
that. that's my mother's tongue. I've been speaking it for years. You can't just expect me to come and within 6 months I'm switching. And do you know the funny thing? Those statements actually made me decide in my mind I was never going to speak like an American. Till today, anytime
Yeah.
even my friends when they joke, like my friends back home and call and say, "Oh, Ola, you've been in the United States for quite some time. Why don't you still speak like American?" I said, "I won't.
Why would you speak like
I won't,"
American?
because some people have
I mean,
shamed me because of it.
the fact still remains that you are not speaking pidgin, you are speaking English.
They're even lucky I'm
So
not speaking my darling.
exactly, you're not speaking pidgin. If you were speaking pidgin, that is a whole different dynamics. But you were speaking the grammar that we are taught in school. Yes, pronunciation might be different because of our accent, but that doesn't make you like it doesn't make an American better than you are, and it doesn't make you better than an American. So no one can just say that just to make you feel bad because you speak a different accent. So I'm glad you stood on your grounds because, girl, it is about what you're producing. I mean, of course they can hear you when you talk.
They
Like
do.
I
They're
really
just,
don't
I
get
feel like
it.
they're just close minded. They are so used to the accents of their own that they want to
Yeah.
hear the accent. And when you don't speak that accent, but it's not everybody that does that. It's
Some
not.
people have been here for 50 years. They still speak like their home, they are in their home country. So far they're speaking English. You have to figure out a way to understand them. Maybe you can tell them to slow down when they are talking so that you can hear. You cannot just talk to people like that. So I'm really glad you didn't really mind them. Because at the end of the day, if everyone can hear when you speak, it means they can also hear when you speak. I'm glad you stood on your ground. So in retrospect, what did you wish you knew before making all these decisions?
I wish I knew I had options. Like, I don't have to say yes to everything that was put on
Mm-hmm.
the table. And
Yes.
I wish I could stand up for myself more
Mm-hmm.
instead of being timid, instead of being shy, instead of being or feeling like, oh, I don't know what tomorrow holds. I don't want my immigration status to be affected. Yes, I don't want it to be affected, but I can also speak up without it being
Yes.
affected.
Yeah. That you just have to take the power back because I mean that's one thing I keep telling people. You qualify for the position, that is why you were hired.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying be disrespectful or be
Yeah,
rude. But know your rights that you qualify for this position. That is why you are here. And you've proved it because you've worked hard to be here. So you don't have to be a yes sir person. If you disagree, you can say that. And I don't blame you because most of us we are brought up this that we are timid, we respect too much, I guess. And for that matter, even if it's going wrong, we still want to make sure that we don't bring any kind of tension between us and our PI. So we go with anything.
yeah,
But at some point, you have to make your voice also heard. Some people don't even know what they are doing is wrong until you bring them into their senses.
yeah.
So,
I would
yeah.
also say that we shouldn't over apologize for everything because we tend to do that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
especially when we feel like we hold that person because that person brought us from our country, we apologize for everything. Like,
Yeah.
if I was doing it in the beginning, even when it's my fault, even when it's not my fault, I apologize. I apologize. I just take the blame. I'm like, well, if I take the blame, everybody's going to be fine. Let's just do that. Let me just
No.
apologize and move on. I would say that anybody experience it, don't over apologize. If it's your fault, take responsibility. If it
Yeah. Exactly. Explain your part of it. Like no one can force you to admit things that you've not done. And it's sad that it's good that we are brought up to be respectful, but I think in our respective countries, they should also teach us how to stand up for ourselves
yes.
so that we can talk out if we need to. Because comparably to Americans, they speak their mind and they are good to go. And we are here trying to make our relationships be better.
Yeah.
And in return, we take up all these kind of traumas with us
And we
and
bottle it
we
up.
live with it.
Mhm.
Yes.
I remember a
Bottle up.
scenario just now where I sent a link to the lab manager and said, "Oh, can you order this for me?" And the lab manager placed the order. The order came in. but it was a wrong order. I didn't know it was a wrong order because it was a reagent. So I opened the box, and after opening it, I noticed the color wasn't the same thing I wanted. So I went back and said, "Oh, this is wrong." And the next thing, I ended up apologizing for opening the bottle and having the wrong order when it wasn't my fault. Yes, verbally, I sent an email apologizing to my PI, and then
Wow.
the whole fault was on me. Like, why did you open it? I would have known that it's a wrong order.
Why wouldn't you open it if you asked her to order the thing for you?
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. We shouldn't over apologize. Like that case, I should have stood my ground and said, okay, you bought the wrong
Yeah.
one. So let's fix it. But I just said, oh, I'm sorry I opened it. I'm so sorry. I didn't know it was a wrong order. And then the next thing I got was that, why did you open it?
Exactly. Like if you give them the chance, they will just walk over you. So I think when I came, I used to add a lot of please in my emails. But it got to a time I'm like, this is not needed. Like I can be straightforward with whatever I want to say. I stopped saying it, not in a rude way. Like I'm still really respectful, but there are certain things we bring on ourselves. And so once they know that you keep apologizing for things that you didn't even do, then they will even look down on you the more, which is not fair. I'm so glad we are talking about it here so that people can hear this. And also, if there are newcomers coming in, they can know how to negotiate their way out when things like this happen, because it's sad. You are in a foreign land, you probably don't have any family, you have no one. It's the new friends that you are going to make, and also the people in your lab that can help you come out of being timid or being yourself. So if those people around you are also making things difficult or life difficult for you, then where else can you turn to? So yeah, I really feel what you're saying, and I hope this episode kind of ginger people to stand on their grounds when things like this happen
Do.
and choose themselves in a way so
Yeah.
that they wouldn't be yes sir or yes
Yeah.
madam kind of
Yeah. If
people.
that move from one
Yeah.
university to another is not convenient, don't do it. Don't do it
Yes.
because that person brought you from your country. Don't. You don't owe them your
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. And another thing is there are so many options. I think we need to do a lot of research even when we come here. That's not the end of it. If someone brings you here and you feel like you're not being treated fairly, I think you can change schools. You can
Yes, you can.
transfer your grades or whatever to
Yeah.
another school where you feel like you can be treated as a human. So
Yeah.
those
My friend did
things,
something like that.
yeah, those things we have to be very mindful and do our own research before we come here. So I'm really pleased that most people just take these things and they never talk about them. But I'm happy you opened up so that people who are going through this can also take advice from it and make right decisions.
Yeah.
So without taking much of your time, I'll conclude here by saying that changing schools due to PIs moving to different universities does not mean that your education has to be terminated or you have to succumb to whatever they bring before you. So change can be good for you in some situation, but seek all the resources, as I was saying, available to you to make informed decisions. And I hope that people share this episode with friends and family, especially international students, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Beyond Borders Dilemma podcast, and also listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Thank you so much, Ola, for sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, stay tuned for next week. Thank you guys for listening.